Sayadaw says he has been giving discourse to the yogis from the basics so far to be able, so that yogis are able to practice satipatthana to the best quality. So that if they are able to practice in accordance with the instructions and guidance given, they are bound to progress on the path day by day with good quality mindfulness, sati. Then you'll be able to build up momentum to the best quality of sati, of satipatthana. Especially not to allow the subtle form of pamada, heedlessness, to arise in a stream of consciousness. Instead, to be able to become heedful, even in a subtle way, without giving any gap, to allow kilesas to enter your stream of consciousness. Then you are bound to be relieved of impurities. Your mind will become purer and purer, progressing towards the fulfillment of purity, to the full purity. In order to, then you're sure to realize the blissful peace. Now, in order to realize this blissful peace, you have to fulfill the prerequisites. That is, the forerunner practices. You have to practice strife in order to realize the part-time purity. Only when you gain part-time purity, you will be able to gain full-time purity. If there is no part-time purity, there cannot be any full-time purity. And you have to also gain part-time peace in order to gain full-time peace. So whoever wishes to gain this assured peace, blissful peace, will strive to the best of their quality, to the best of their ability. Of course, they will not gain this peace all at once. They will have to accumulate this part-time, partial peace and partial purity. Then build up momentum, develop, try to progress. Then only they will be able to realize good quality mindfulness. For that, towards that goal, Sayadaw has taken pains to help you with discourses, with the Dhamma talks, describing both from the theoretical and practical aspects. It is quite satisfying that the Buddha has given the methods in connection with the subtle form of apamada and pamada to teach the devotees, to give guidance. So there are 5 more things to be said about pamada and apamada. Now, in the practice of the high-level discipline of bhavana, kusala, skillful deed of mind development, you got to accumulate skillfulness, wholesome deeds, develop them, enhance them, uplift them. If you don't do that, then you are said to be anasevana, that is not consuming, that is a literal rendering, which amounts to pamada, heedlessness. The reverse of that is asevana, that's consuming or using what should be used. Asevana. Consuming what should be consumed, using what should be used. Like using or consuming daily food or daily nutriments. If you take food, you are consuming the required nutriments for your strength and health. Sometimes, if necessary, you got to use vitamins and minerals in order to supplement the nutriments, and take pure drinks, good drinks, breathe fresh air and so on. In this way, you consume good things, wholesome things. Why do you consume that? To satisfy your thirst or hunger, and also to enhance your energy, so that you'll be able to be fulfilled with stamina. You come to possess stamina for the power of resisting and repelling, and also to be healthy. This is most important. Only when you have enough energy, you'll be able to repel or resist. Repel diseases, or be able to build up resistance against the diseases, certain diseases. So, in order to strengthen your physical body, you got to consume nutriments, vitamins, and so on. And this in Pali is known as oja, that is nutriments, which are effective and powerful. Some medicines which are specially prepared are also very effective and powerful. So, when you take ordinary food, daily food, or oja, nutriments, or medicines, you got to take it so that it goes right into your body, because they are very effective, leading to new materialities. They develop new materialities, fresh materialities, pure materialities. Aharaja rupa, food produce materiality, so that you become fresh and strong. So too with the spiritual nutriments. We're talking about material nutriments. Now we come to the spiritual nutriments. With the spiritual nutriments also, you got to consume it, you got to take it, so that it goes right into your body, right into you, with full heart and soul, heartily, not half-heartedly. Fully, not partially. Only when you consume this, only when you practice this, you'll be able to realize the strength, mental strength in this case. This is Dhamma Oja, spiritual nutriments. Nutriments of the Dhamma. Only when it goes into the mind, your mind will become energized. Then you'll be able to possess stamina with the power of repelling, with the power of resistance. So in order to reach the stage, you've got to guard yourself with vigilant mindfulness, with the practice of the high-level discipline of the way of mindfulness, like taking material nutriments and material medicines, like consuming them. If you don't consume them, if you don't take them, then you are said to be heedless in a very subtle way. And if you take it continuously, without gap, then you are said to be heedful in a very subtle way. So as for the food, material food, you take 2 or 3 times, as the case may be, regularly, daily. Sometimes they are supplemented with medicines, vitamins and so on, if necessary, regularly, 2 times or 3 times a day. But in the case of these spiritual nutriments, you've got to consume it every second, every moment of the practice. This is Dhamma medicine. There's no time for resting, no time for resting and spaced out. You have to do it continuously, without gap. Otherwise, if you rest, if your body rests, kilesas will not rest. They will enter your stream of consciousness. They will invade you as soon as you take rest. So, as not to allow these kilesas to enter your stream of consciousness and invade you, you should practice continuously. Everyone knows that body needs ahara, nutriments, food or nutriments. Because ahara has the ability, has it very powerful. It's very effective. If you don't take it heartily, then you will not be able to realize the benefit of this ahara. You must take food which is really nutritious. If you take food which is not nutritious, then you will not realize the benefit of this food. So only when the food has full nutriments, sometimes supplemented with multivitamins like your Centrum, silver brand, which is supposed to be most effective, according to my knowledge. So if you take that, supplement your food with vitamins, you're bound to become very strong and healthy. So if your body can consume such things, then you'll be free of diseases in general. So if you are deficient in certain vitamins or elements, then the doctors will say you must take this or that. They will prescribe special medicines in order to supplement that. Then you will get the required nutriments to be able to resist against the certain diseases, respective diseases. So too with the mental aspect. You need special nutriments, spiritual nutriments. If you are deficient in spiritual nutriment, your mind will be weak instead of being strong, and instead of possessing the resistance power. For instance, let's take saddha, faith and confidence. If you need this particular spiritual nutriment, saddha, then you will not believe in anything, you will not trust anything, there will be no faith and confidence in your practice of the teacher and so on. If you have very small quantity of saddha, faith, then you will be also half-hearted. Sometimes you believe it, sometimes you don't. Half-hearted belief, half-hearted faith and confidence, half-hearted saddha. Only when you have full faith, then you will be able to believe. So you need a special spiritual nutriment, in this case saddha. You've got to develop it. Faith and confidence, first of all, faith and confidence in the benefits of Satipatthana practice, which are 7 in number, beginning with the benefit of the purity of the mind. It has been given assured benefits as assured by the Buddha. So studying them, knowing it, your faith and confidence, your saddha begins at this stage. Now at this stage you are just awakening. Your sada is said to be awakened. You're waking up the sada. Like waking up a person. Like your wake-up call in the morning. You are reeling on the bed, rolling left and right. You are not getting up as yet. Soon after hearing the call. So also, waking up is just waking up. Not enough to send you to work or to send you to the retreat or to the center, to the meditation center. So just waking up is not enough. If you don't develop this sada with the practice, then you will crash out again. You will go back to sleep. So you will not realize the benefit of your sada. So this sada has not only to awaken the sada has got to be developed and enhanced with the practice, so that you realize you gain the benefit of the sada. So too, when you are listening to the Dhamma, you are awakening. You are waking up this sada. Your sada is said to be awakened, and you got to develop this sada with the application of energy, virya. Virya becomes necessary at this stage to note every arising object without missing. First of all, you apply initial launching energy. This is the first stage, energy. To note every arising object. Then after sitting for some time, you may feel very uncomfortable, painful. Then you need another stage of rocket, your virya rocket, in order to overcome the difficulties, the difficult situation, pain, and so on. Later, the third stage of virya, stepping up this virya in order to reach the goal. So these are the three stages of virya you've got to exert in order to develop and enhance your sada after it has been awakened. When you're taking food, just satisfying your thirst or hunger is not necessary. You should consume real nutriments, complete nutriments. Otherwise you will not gain physical strength. So too with the mental aspect. You must take the spiritual nutriments or Dhamma fully. Of course, first, gradually, you won't be able to get the strength like a super person all at once. You got to do it gradually, and they develop your sada with the practice, with the exertion of energy. First, the initial launching energy, and then the second stage of energy, and then the third stage to reach the final goal. Then there will be mindfulness activated, because you can become energized, because the spiritual nutriments have gone into your mind. Now, as you exert your energy, you are about to sustain your mindfulness. As much as mindfulness is sustained, for 1 minute, if you are able to apply virya at the rate of 1 moment of mindfulness per second, there will be 60 moments of mindfulness arising. That is the result of the energy. Now when you are applying this energy to note the arising object, jhanic powers are also involved, like taking an aim at the object to be noted. So with the sustained virya, there will be sustained mindfulness, so that the mind will not go anywhere. there will be no distraction or restlessness. Instead, that noting mind will fall calm and collected on the object noted. So that you become powerful, your concentration will become very powerful. And as you fulfill your energy of concentration power, you will be able to know things in their true nature, the realities, the ultimate realities. For instance, when you're noting rising, your noting mind will fall on the stiffness, the sabhavas, essential qualities such as stiffness, tension, movement, and so on, heat, cold, and so on. When you are noting, when you are watching rising of the abdomen, and when you observe falling, your noting mind will fall on the essential qualities such as movement, relaxation, heat, cold, and so on. Same thing goes with other objects noted. As much as you exert energy, you are bound to see things in their true nature. So this is the real Dhammoja, real spiritual nutriments. So that your mind will become very effective and powerful, because you are consuming, applying the spiritual nutriments fully. Every second of the practice, every moment of the practice, without missing. Of course, with one moment of mindfulness, you will not be, the effect will not be so obvious. Only when you note continuously, after many moments of noting, without gap, continuously, will be able to realize the effect of your practice in a very wonderful manner. And such is pala, meaning powers. So it is, you can come to acceptance with your own personal experience. You come to definite resolution that to attaining this real peace, that it is correct. You come to an unshakable resolution that such is correct. So this is how you apply the Satipatthana, guarding yourself with vigilant mindfulness every second, every moment of the time, sustaining your mindfulness with the application of Virya, leading to activated mindfulness, deepen the concentration and insight. So this is the root cause lies in the Saddha, the spiritual nutriment, leading to the result of the practice. As much as in the material, in the body. So there are people who are health conscious, so they take food which contains nutriments, food and drinks which contain nutriments. They take fresh air and so on regularly. So too with the mental aspect, you have to consume or take in this Dhammoja, spiritual nutriments, regularly or fully. Now in the case of the mental aspect, as well as in the both in the physical and mental aspect, there are things which are contradictory, which can be dangerous, which can be harmful if you take or consume that. Pardon me. So you have to avoid them. If you don't avoid them, then you won't be able to gain the full aspect of your nutriments, whether it's physical nutriments or mental nutriments. What you should avoid, what should be avoided, should be avoided. What has to be avoided, should be avoided. For instance, when you have to take some vitamins which can cure certain diseases, or you take some food in order to overcome certain diseases, there are contradictory elements or opposing elements, harmful elements in short, which can obstruct these nutriments, bad elements. And the doctors would say, would advise you to abstain or to avoid all these things. Then if you are very conscious of your health, and you've got to be careful about these things. You need to possess these two qualities, that is detesting and fearing these dangerous, harmful elements. You need to avoid them. So too with the mental aspect, understanding that there are things which can cause physical, mental, and physical, verbal and mental impurities, which are harmful to your practice, which are harmful to your body and mind. You've got to, if you are knowing them, you've got to avoid them. They are unskillful states, unskillful dhamma. Then you need to avoid them. So you need to possess these two mental powers, as we have discussed at some time in the past. Hiri Ottappa, detesting and fearing harmful things. That is a prerequisite. These are necessary as a forerunner in the practice. These two mental powers are necessary. During the practice, you need to possess these two mental powers, Hiri Bala, Ottappa Bala. The power of moral shame and the power of moral fear. So the power of detesting and fearing these unskillful things, and detesting and fearing the unwholesome, immoral consequences, bad consequences. So if you are conscious of your health physically, you avoid harmful food. So too, if you are conscious of your mental strength, then you should possess these two mental powers, Hiribala, Ottappa, in order to avoid these harmful elements, harmful states. Especially during the practice, for the yogis, it is important to possess these two things. And the analogy given is when you are on a journey, taking a journey, traveling on a journey with a vehicle, you need a good back rest to rest your back. Otherwise you will fall off. A back rest where you can hang on, you can control yourself, you can rest your back at ease so that you won't fall off. Then you'll be able to travel comfortably. If there is no back rest, the back rest is given, the analogy of the back rest is given to Hiri Ottappa. Hiri Ottappa are like back rest, and if you don't possess them, then you will fall off. You might get injured even. So yogis should also possess this back rest in the form of Hiri Ottappa, otherwise they will not be able to sustain your mindfulness nor deepen their concentration. And if you don't possess these two mental powers, then unskillfulness is bound to enter your stream of consciousness. Then you will fall off this making vehicle, the vehicle of the Eightfold Path, vehicle traveling towards the ultimate peace. Then you will not be able to control yourself. Instead, you might fall off and get injured. And there will be no progress in the practice. If you have this backrest in the form of Hiri Ottappa, then you are bound to develop these mental powers, beginning with Saddha and so on. All these mental powers will be developed. Then you are bound to strengthen your practice day by day, so that your mind will become powerful and very effective. And then when you gain insight, they will become very powerful. Some doctors would prescribe I wouldn't advise that you can eat anything because you need nutriments, but they will also add. You take some like antidote or something to do away with these harmful elements, like antidote. So, because in the food there are elements which can be harmful. So they prescribe, some prescribe, not all, some prescribe some antidote or something which will do away with these undesirable food elements. So it is better, rather than taking unwholesome food and using antidote or some remedy in order to do away with unwholesome, undesirable elements, it is better to prevent, not to take bad things from the beginning. Like the saying, prevention is the best cure. So avoid unwholesome things. Take only wholesome things. In the case of the practice, there's no such thing as you can take both wholesome or unwholesome things. You have to avoid unwholesome things, definitely, and take only wholesome things. There are unwholesome things like kilesas, defilements, negative emotions, tormenting, torturing elements, and then these nivaranas, hindrances to progress. All these things are to be avoided. They are unwholesome, like unwholesome food. If you are unavoidably overcome, overwhelmed, or invaded by these elements, kilesas, negative things, then unavoidably, then you will not be able to cultivate insight. In fact, the best thing is prevention. So, if you are able to avoid them and take only good things, only skillful things, practice skillful things, then you'll be able to develop the power of resistance and repelling. You'll be able to repel undesirable things, and you'll be able to develop your own mental resistance. And you've got to energize your mind in this way with the mental powers such as saddha, faith and confidence, and so on. And for this, towards this end, hiri ottappa, this moral shame, moral fear, are very supportive, especially in avoiding undesirable elements, negative things, which are harmful, which are dangerous. Like the case of the tree, if a tree is not so strong, then it is bound to be destroyed by unadverse elements. So, in the practice of the Satipatthana, it is necessary to avoid these undesirable elements, negative elements, in order to energize your mind and gain insight, when you will be able to gain or attain the real maturity of your life and your mind. Now you have to, just as you consume or you put in your material nutriments in the body in order to strengthen your body, otherwise you'll be weak and you'll be able to do your everyday work. So in that case, you got to consume vitamins, take vitamins and some essential elements in order to supplement your food so that you gain strength and you'll be able to move about. So if you cannot gain energy, there will be no maturity and you will be unhealthy, so that your resistance, the power of resistance will be very weak. So too with the mental aspect. There are two unwholesome things, unskillful things, namely avijjatana, ignorance, and desire or craving. Two kinds of ignorance, and not two kinds of unknowing, simple unknowing and not knowing wrongly. So these avijjatana are the bad elements. They are with us in the latent form all along our lifetimes. Now, with the practice of Satipatthana, we got to develop our mind and prevent these avijjatana from arising in the stream of consciousness. If we reach the stage of maturity, even if we don't reach the maturity, then you will not be able to develop resistance against these unwholesome things, raga, dosa, moha, passion, malice and delusion. Then you'll be able to repel them. You'll be able to develop resistance because your mind is very weak. Only when your mind is strong, you'll be able and cultivate knowledge, will you be able to reach the maturity and gain resistance and the power of repelling. Like the case of the tree, if the tree is very small and tender, then it will not be able to withstand the adverse weather conditions. It will be destroyed by these adverse weather conditions. Then, only when the tree becomes developed, the tree grows well, it will be able to gain resistance. When it reaches maturity, then it will be able to repel heat and cold, and you'll be able to resist against these adverse weather conditions. So as much as the energy is strong, you'll be powerful, and there will be your resistance power also will go up. And when you have maturity, then you'll be able to possess stamina. So too with the mind. When you energize your mind with the practice, develop knowledge, then you are uplifting your mind, thereby you are fulfilled with the spiritual energy, spiritual nutriments. And when you cultivate knowledge and insight, you become matured, and you'll be able to repel or overcome these negative elements called kilesas. Only when you are strong, you will be able to repel them. And when you reach the maturity, you will be able to withstand the adverse worldly conditions, good and bad worldly conditions. And you will neither be glad nor sad about desirable and undesirable objects. You will be able to become balanced between these good and bad things and view them with equanimity that is required for everybody. Like a kind of doll, if you throw the doll, it will always sit and never fall off. So also with the practice, with the Satipatthana. Satipatthana gives assurance to the practitioner to energize their mind so that they can develop this power of repelling and resistance. And with the knowledge, they'll be able to possess stamina and be able to view good and bad aspects of life in a balanced attitude with equanimity. In order to reach that stage, you should possess these two wholesome, skillful mental powers, namely hiri or tapa, beginning with saddha, faith and confidence, and virya, energy, Sati, Samadhi and Panya every second of the time. To just elaborate on the Hiri-Ottappa from the practical aspect. Now, in order to realize the benefit of the Satipatthana, yogis should possess these sada also before and during the practice. And those devoted yogis would not wish, would detest and fear losing mindfulness. Sati, losing, so that if he or she loses mindfulness, he or she will be allowing these kilesas to enter the stream of consciousness. So he or she is very conscious about that. That is possessing Hiri-Ottappa in the practical sense. Then such yogis will be able to practice mindfulness continuously without gap. However, if in the course of the practice, if there are some skeptical doubt and fantasies and imaginations and thoughts, they are disturbances. Knowing that the skeptical doubt is a great disturbance, one should not give way or allow these skeptical doubt to enter the stream of consciousness. Otherwise, your time will be wasted with the skeptical doubt. Such is the power of Hiri-Ottappa in the practical sense. Then such yogis will be able to practice meticulously with great concern to sustain mindfulness. So, previously, before he or she possesses this Hiri-Ottappa, he or she may be just doing the walking meditation in order to stretch their limbs. And when he or she is asked during lifting, what do you know, then he or she will not be able to answer correctly. And if you move a foot, what do you know? Or if you place a foot, what do you know? Then he or she will not be able to explain exactly what are the observations, what he or she observed. The reason is a lack of this energy and precision, aiming power and the application of energy, so that he or she is not possessing the Hiri-Ottappa, not conscious of losing the mindfulness, so that he or she may be doing it very lightly, not seriously, and in a very marginal way. When once he or she possesses this Hiri-Ottappa, then whenever this yogi walks, lift, move and places, because he or she aims properly. Aiming is the jhanic power, the power of the factor of absorption. You take an aim precisely with the application of energy, so that the noting mind hits the object, is able to grasp the object. Every object which arises is noted without being missed. As much as one applies energy in a concerned manner, then the noting mind is bound to hit the object, bound to grasp the object, giving rise to sustained mindfulness and deepened concentration. So, with the power of precision and energy, because the practice is with full energy, practice is taken up with full energy, he or she knows that during lifting, the things that he or she observes, he or she will be able to report in the interviews that, for instance, during lifting, I observe lightness, I observe pushing up. All these things are sabhavas, essential qualities, which one can observe when one watches the object, or one knows the object. All these things are knowledge, panya bala, the power of wisdom or knowledge. So when he or she is pushing the foot, he or she may observe that something is being pushed from the back, or there's some stiffness or tension or whatever, lightness. And when he or she presses the foot down, places the foot down, observing the pressure, lightness, heaviness, stiffness, tension, cool, heat, and whatever. That is because one is doing it meticulously. One is able to sustain one's mindfulness and deepens one's energy, thus thereby observing these sabhavas. As the saying goes, only when you observe at the very moment will you see sabhava. Not only does she detest the yogis, not only does he do that, that he or she does that, devoted yogis would behave like a sick person, moving about slowly, and then observing both mind and body, like the observing intentions before one lifts one's foot. With the series of intentions, with the stages of intentions, there are stages of lifting stages, lifting process by stages. And with the intention to move, there are these different stages of movement according to the stages, successive stages of intention. And so is with placing your foot down. So in this process, in walking meditation, he or she will not just observe the mind, he or she will also observe the body. Both the body and the mind will be observed. That is both the intention and the process of lifting, moving, and so on. So, not only does he or she observe the mind and body, he or she also will observe the sabhavas of the conditionality, the cause and effect, at the very moment. That all is giving place to the new. And according to the maxim, only when you observe at the very moment will you see sabhava. Both the nama sabhava and rupa sabhava, mental qualities and physical qualities, the causative qualities and effect qualities, resultant qualities. So, because one practices respectfully, carefully, one detests losing the mindfulness, not allowing kilesas to enter the stream of consciousness. He or she detests and fears these loss of mindfulness. That is the power of hiri and ottappa. These things are very supportive. These two wholesome, skillful mental states are very supportive in the practice. Once one possesses these two mental states, one is bound to cultivate knowledge and gain insight. Just try it. There is assurance. So now, of course, in this process, if you are fantasizing, for those who are prone to fantasies, as in the case of ordinary worldly events, what is this? Why is this? Which is this? And if one fantasizes in this way, then this is going to be a great disturbance. There's no room for thoughts or fantasies or imaginations. and there's only room for bhavana power, the power of practice. Fantasies and imaginations and thoughts, thinking that they are knowledge, is wrong. They cannot understand or observe sabhava. They will not lead to the realization or knowledge of sabhava. So the practice is to see things in the true nature, the real qualities, such as the discernment of mind and body. This is the mind, this is the body, this is the matter, this is the mind, and so on. And then the conditionality, this is the cause, this is the effect. And if in this process, if one starts to begins to fantasize and imagines and ask questions, then they are going to be disturbances. For those yogis, there's no guarantee that they will gain knowledge and insight. So it is necessary that you possess, in order to reach that stage, you possess certain these mental powers, such as the beginning with the saddha, faith and confidence. This much for today. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.